What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Nachos with me, of course, as always, your wonderful host. Tonight, guys, we got a pretty amazing show planned out for you. Tonight's topic is going to be the current economic status within the Commonwealth of Redmont. Tonight, we have some special guests. Before, you've seen my man, Little Diggivert, was on one of our previous episodes. We have the current Chief Justice, also known as the man that no one ever sees, Crix. And he's just going to nod his head. And then we also have former DEC Secretary, Trencher Lamar. And then we also have Belmont Equity CEO and chairman of their board, Nexelin. And of course, myself, which, I mean, I'm pretty self-explanatory. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into our discussion for tonight. So I open the floor up to all the parties here. What do we currently feel the general state of the economy's in?
We're facing a lot more inflation than anyone actually seemed to realize, given the charts that were put out recently. Let me open them up really quickly. So since April, we have had, 58% inflation and 20% as of the last month. We're also seeing, as I am going through and doing an item demand spreadsheet, that we're seeing a lot of a downward trend in spending on a lot of items. Right now, for example, one of the largest changes I've noticed on the document so far was, for example, I can't find it, but there was like a 70-something thousand% change just because some item had so few. Here we are. It doesn't say what the exact item is, but arrow number FH, 76,000% growth in spending on that. Because there were so few of that item bought previously. So when looking at the spreadsheet, you should also take into consideration that the percent changes, how great they are, could also be in reference to how little that item was bought or sold the previous month.
Oh, the spreadsheet that you're talking of, what specifically is it for?
So right now, it's something that I initiated in the DOC. I decided that we should note the percent change in market-wide profit on items for each month in order to sort of get a general idea of the health of the market based on those percent changes.
I'll be honest, we've just been like majorly overspending. Like it's just been a problem now for the past few administrations. Like I thought Deadwax was gonna try and correct it with the salary thing, but like we just have way too many people employed by the government that do absolutely nothing. And then we have people that are putting their hand, in the government coffers, like Nexelin here, trying to rob us clean.
What do you mean by government coffers?
I agree.
He's just like stealing money,
I agree with Diggy that there's people overspending, and
I'm not Diggy, I'm Crix.
I didn't say anything.
Who cares?
What? Who cares? I'm the Chief Justice. Just you remember that.
I agree that the government has too many employees and it's overspending. And I feel like we could implement things like sales tax or cutting government jobs to bring down inflation.
And also, Trent, how the hell are you calculating this inflation?
So we have a basket of items that has been chosen based on how frequently they are purchased, and what Random Intruder is doing, I believe, is going through and calculating the percent difference in spending per month in order to figure out what the exact inflation rate is. If anything, we could possibly try to bring her on and get her to explain it. I'm not 100% sure what the process she's doing is.
Do you add all the changes in price together, and then you divide by the amount of items that you guys surveyed?
Yeah.
Or something?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's something like that.
Does that really that doesn't really calculate inflation?
I can DM her right now and ask.
Not like there could be just changes in demand for like a specific thing. You know what I mean? So maybe someone was building an apartment that month or something. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
really. That's more of a representation of.
Has that ever
Yeah.
stopped anyone
Like
before?
how can we trust random intruder? They're like a blatant communist. They're in bed with fucking Huge Bob. Like could you be
They do have intruder in their name though.
Yeah. Like what are they intruding? They're trying to take our money and they're trying to rob us clean.
I think
Damn, y'all got a good point.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think the most important part is you said that you guys currently have a bucket of items that you guys like pluck out of the economy for substantial change within the economy.
Yeah,
I do hope
items.
that there's an item such as called as dried kelp block on there, because kelp is currently one of the leading factors of this economy and truly driving solid reform.
Some human on Earth was actually saying that like the dead wax administration was causing global warming or something. I saw one of the articles there, so maybe that's tied to kelp. I don't know.
Okay, you know what's funny is dried kelp blocks are actually item number 39.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, we're doing it on Google Sheets, so it's on like it goes row 1 to 52. And
Does that mean that kelp's important?
Truthfully, I don't know how it's ordered.
kelp is the most important block in the game.
That's what I'm saying. Little Diggy Bird.
No, it's not. I'm not even kidding, right? Like you have.
Oh, okay. It's ordered by the.
You have big companies like Belmont, Walgreens, and a bunch Huge Bob, whatever he's running now, that are using dirty coal to power their company. I think we need to be thinking forward, thinking about the environment, thinking about the biodiversity in our country.
Like water levels are rising in Aventura.
And coal.
You know what I mean? Like how are we supposed to sell islands? When water levels are rising,
make them taller.
We only have 2 million in the bank. Like times are tough.
I think
if you really want to compete with climate change like that, just make volcanoes. They'll make more islands for you.
Oh, trust me, we can make volcanoes. We can make volcanoes. I'm just saying. With that being said, we're going to transition into our secondary topic because I feel like we truly inspired and educated many of our viewers here tonight with that last one. So I can only imagine where we'll go with this next topic. A common point that's brought up in today's political field as well as economic field is how useful the entity known as the CRB is. I've heard that many individuals within the community truly loves and inspires to be a member of the CRB. We got any thoughts on that?
I have no idea what the fuck they do.
Well, Nacho, when you were on it, what do you think?
I think the best use for the CRB is, the best instance, the best case for it is we shut it down in the next 10 minutes. I think that organization needs to go yesterday. You have corrupt politicians, playing as business people trying to take money from the government. You have greedy corporates trying to take money from the government.
Take food out of the mouths of our children, basically.
Exactly. Like, when I was president, we were, the CRB actively hurt the economy. And I think a lot of the issues we're seeing today were caused by the CRB. And quite honestly, like, I think that if I didn't have a CRB, I don't think that the economy would be where we're at today. I think we'd be in a much better.
Yeah, like what's the CRB actually done? It was set up to like manage quantitative easing and government salaries and some other things.
I'll tell you what they did. They charged they gave the government I think it was like $1 million and they want $500,000 back. And before when I was president, they were like, "Oh, your economy's doing well, Dig. You're so great with the economy." They were praising me, and they were like, "But the contract that Wetsy signed without your permission, you remember that one? Yeah, we can change the interest rate whenever we want. So we're actually gonna make you pay more now." So I mean, I think it's a lot of shady dealing that's coming from a quasi government entity, and I think that I think that Congress and the people who wrote that bill have really given they've really put this economy in a place where we should be concerned about the next generation of businesses. I think that across the board people are going to be hurt by this, and that's why now we're seeing big people in the economy or big people in the CRB are calling for sales taxes or cutting wages, things that harm the
hang
poorest people in our country, as opposed to, targeting the wealthy.
Like Trump was saying earlier, like if we're going off his facts, we're looking at like a 20% inflation rate month on month, or maybe a little bit lower than that.
It's caused
Yeah.
by CRB.
Okay. I think it's clear, and I think most people here agree that government spending, especially on salaries, is way too high. It's not sustainable. The government's not bringing in as much money as it's spending, and that's only being like further supported by the CRB giving out these loans that the government really has no hope of paying back. Like, where's the government going to get $1 million?
I'm sure they're hoping from the taxpayer.
Well, I mean, I think you remember in my presidency, right? We went 3 months without having a tax plugin that was working. So, I mean, I think there's irreparable damage over there. I think that loan should be written off by the CRB. I don't think the government should be paying that much. I think we should have gotten a grant. But instead, they wanted to act like a business and not as a government organization. And that's a symptom of us, deciding to put only bank owners and business owners in that position instead of, people who care about policy.
So I assume that you two are both under the I would probably classify it as the same opinion, that you don't think that that what you're labeling as a quasi government organization to be ran by a bank who has a lot of public scrutiny right now currently, is like former CEOs of Tello are currently like chairmen, like board directors, and along those lines.
Let me put it this way. I wouldn't trust Naxalin to walk my dog, let alone run our economy, okay? The Belmonto Equity Group is like Lehman Brothers. It's like on the verge of collapsing.
But you had a cat.
Here when they first come in and say, wow, you guys really do have the lowest prices. Yeah, we have the lowest prices. Oakwood, 64 for only $4. Barrels, 64 for only $3. Basalt, 64 for only $2. Stone, 64 for only 40 cents. If you happen to find a lower price on a stocked item, we'll beat about 10%. Lowest prices are just the beginning. That's our policy.
Is the other side Trent or next? You guys have any comments on the CRB?
Or whatever.
I don't really know anything about what they do or anything like that. I just know that there's absolutely no way that they didn't do damage with the fact that Wetsy was himself out only for himself and made it very well known.
Well, my thing is, like, Trent has been our DEC secretary for I don't know how many months now. Like, he was quite recently, and he says himself here he doesn't have a clue what the CRB is doing. Like, these are the people that were running our economy, folks. Just so you all know, the people that were giving themselves 300K loans that they weren't going to pay back. The people that don't know what the CRB is. You're in safe hands.
Even when I fucking had a DEC representative in the CRB there was like no information coming through.
Zoo as in the Tello executive?
Yeah.
I feel like there was a bit of a conflict of interest right there.
What do you mean?
Well, that's why I don't think the power to mint money ever should have gone to the CRB. I think it should have stayed within the DEC and been under the purview of the executive.
Speaking of the DEC, do you feel that like it's proper to allow high-ranking DEC officials, or current, I guess now it's called DOC officials, to be high-ranking business executives? Do you feel like there's a conflict of interest there?
Well, that fundamentally doesn't make sense to me because even as the president, you don't have to give up your business.
So you feel that like under the current, like the way that the government works, you shouldn't have to give up
your business as a member of any cabinet position unless the president has to.
Right, but so you're saying that I'm not just listing off cabinet, I'm talking about like the leadership management of the actual DOC.
Yeah,
you
I'm
don't feel
saying
that the regulatory body of the DOC should be have a check put in place to prevent them from bettering themselves and their companies over others?
Well, yes, there should be some sort of check put into place that isn't policy, but to say that the DOC secretary should have to get rid of their own company or step down for their company fundamentally doesn't make sense to me unless the president has to do the same.
Fundamentally, if I recall back in Diggy, you might recall, I believe that the Senate actually denied the former DEC secretary the role because of the fact that they refused to step down or hand their company over temporarily to another executive within their company.
That never happened.
It did, because Little Diggyvert was an actual senator at the time that it occurred.
I was
He
never
was-
made aware of this.
He was denied. Actually, I think it was one or two times. Diggy, it was Chak with Spectre.
Spectre, yeah.
See,
Like,
I was
this-
never told at any point that I should have to step down from Walgreens, nor was it proposed to me.
Because
Third man in Vortex.
the Senate specifically questioned Chak on the grounds that I think they actually asked him straight up right there in the hearing. It was, would you be willing to hand over your company to another executive while your tenureship as the DEC secretary? And he said no. And then the next day he was denied for that specific reason.
I would just
Shaq
like to
was
say
the DEC secretary for a while.
Yeah, because he ended up stepping down.
Mm.
Oh yeah, people just put their private obviously people on the server are gonna have huge private interests, be that business ones or political ones.
Yeah,
So
like
well, at least I don't fucking use my position to abuse it and give myself big loans for my town. Okay, artificial town boy there, Diggy Santis.
where's the GER lawsuit verdict?
Where's the GR lawsuit verdict? It's being worked on. Okay, I take my time with things. I don't rush things out like these.
It's-
half-baked jobs are
I
good.
bet you're not rushing. I bet you're not rushing.
I
Keep
think it's
going.
right. I think it's right next to that loan for the government.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh,
Here's corrupt as Diggy here. Here's corrupt as fucking
I
Diggy
don't-
Santis.
I've done nothing wrong, and I think that
I don't consider myself correct, but thank you.
You've blood on your hands, Diggy. Okay, you've blood on your hands.
I have blood on my hands. Think of all the people you've put in the grave. I'm over here. I lived I've lived an honest political career, unlike you. Remember, you are the one who has been investigated multiple times. I've never been investigated.
You did the investigating.
Yeah,
I was acquitted.
I specifically recall.
They incapacitated me. That was illegal. Weren't you part of that? You're part of illegal schemes to topple our government. Some people would call that treason.
That was legal.
Yeah.
That was
Treason.
legal. That was
Treason.
legal.
But Westray says it was illegal.
And he stole 70,000 from the government. What's your point?
We just don't talk about that.
Yeah, you and your Canadian presidents. Yeah, you're all the
Canadian.
same.
I'm not Canadian.
You're close enough. Close enough.
Not really. I'm from Florida.
Yeah, Florida. What's good about that? Artificial.
Well,
Oh, go back to your artificial town. How about that?
perhaps we should move on from
Yeah, we can move on. Yeah,
both of you your love relationship with each other.
Yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
Like I always say, the people before everything.
Now, next topic that we're gonna kind of stay on the track with is it kind of falls in line with the discussion of the CRB, but it's going to be in specific to different business models that we've seen be successful as well as failure within the economy of Redmont. Obviously, a handful of us are very long in this economy. We've all had massive experience as well as seen companies come and go. What are some successful business models that you've seen?
Multi-level marketing schemes, probably knowing him. Diggy Vert
yeah.
knows about nothing. He knows nothing.
Chris,
I think
why
another
don't you start running a business? You've been poor your whole life.
is,
You don't get to talk.
I've been rich my whole life. I gave you money. I pulled you out of the sewer without having sure. I gave you 100K loan. You were begging. You were on your knees. Oh, Chris, please give me money. I was like, I threw you a coin.
You're not here to give the rich perspective, all right? You're here to give the broke boy perspective. But let me talk.